Hello once again, everybody. Thank you for joining me in the Bettor's Box. This is BangTheBook.com's MLB betting podcast for Monday, July 29th. I am your host, Adam Burke. This and every edition of the Bettor's Box presented by our friends over at DSI Sportsbook. BTB and the number 200 is that promo code. 100% deposit match bonus for the Sportsbook. 100% deposit match bonus for the live casino at BetDSI. It's only a game until you bet it. Monday, Thursday format, as you know, here with the Bettor's Box. Usually we do a Monday mailbag here on the Monday show, but didn't get any questions for this week. So at Skating Tripods on Twitter or Adam at bangthebook.com via email. If you ever have questions for the show, want to chat about anything non-show related, whatever the case may be, Adam at bangthebook.com via email to also get on the list for the mailing notes for these editions of the Bettor's Box. My MLB picks and tips piece still going every day over at bangthebook.com. We're rolling out college football season win total previews on a division level for the Power 5, on a conference level for the Group of 5. So we got lots of college football content coming your way here this week. Over at the website, we've already got several pieces up, 4 from me, a couple from our other writers, and also I'll be putting together the Mountain West Conference here for today, so you can check that out over at bangthebook.com. We'll have a preview for this week's Wyndham Championship from James Mazzola. We've got a great tennis preview for the 3 events this week from Big Ten Watto. We'll have UFC later in the week from Christian Pina. We'll have some WNBA content throughout the week, Canadian Football League content, lots of stuff going on over at the website. And also, NFL preseason starts this week on Thursday, the Hall of Fame game. My preview up and a suggested bet for that over at the website. As far as Bang the Book Radio goes here this week, we've got my show obviously here today. Tuesday, we'll chat with Brian Leonard. Wednesday, I believe we're going to have Ross Tucker on from the Ross Tucker Football Podcast. Thursday, the Bettor's Box. Friday, UFC with Christian Pina. So another very busy week here on Bang the Book Radio. We're still not doing our full hour plus every day, but we're certainly ramping up towards that, which we will start here again in the month of August. All right, so as I mentioned, no Monday mailbag questions for this week, so we'll go ahead and start with a look beyond the box score, and we'll start with the Dodgers and Nationals series. The Dodgers take 2 out of 3 here. Good pitchers duel on Friday between Hyun-Jin Ryu and Anibal Sanchez. Dodgers prevail in that bullpen battle. Clayton Kershaw struggled a little bit on Saturday, but then settled in. The Nationals got 2 good innings from Matt Grace, but then Joe Ross came in as the bulk reliever and got blasted. Then Sunday, an ace-like effort from Steven Strasburg. Walker Buehler knocked around the 3rd time through. And the Dodgers wind up with 2 out of 3 there, as I mentioned. But, really not a whole lot of intriguing things to talk about from this series, except that I was looking a little bit more at the Dodgers bullpen. A right-on-right home run allowed by Joe Kelly on Saturday. He was a little bit better on Friday night. Caleb Ferguson needed 28 pitches in the blowout, had a couple of base runners. The Dodgers may need some bullpen reinforcements, I think. Kenley Jansen is very good. Pedro Baez has been excellent this year, but Baez already with 48 appearances. He's on pace to be around 80 or more once again this year. They only have 3 regular relievers with a FIP under 4. So I think the Dodgers need to try and find some bullpen reinforcements here over the next couple of days. Obviously once you get to the playoffs and the Dodgers will win the West, you can start moving some starters around, move them into bullpen capacities, things like that. So maybe they're just going to kind of wait on that. But I think for now, in that quest for home field advantage, they may want to scour the relief market a little bit here as that trade deadline approaches. The Yankees avoided a sweep by beating Chris Sale on Sunday, but this was not a good look for the Yankees again here. 44 runs allowed over these 4 games. Add that to the 27 runs that they allowed in the 3 games against the Twins earlier this week, and you've got 71 runs allowed in 7 games by this Yankees pitching staff. Seemed like everybody except for Adam Ottavino got touched up pretty badly here throughout the course of the week. It started bad on Thursday. Masahiro Tanaka gave up 12 earned runs. Swinging strike percentage is way down. Velocity is down. Seems like he may be hurt here, and maybe this start kind of the culmination of that. Also, in starts against anybody except for Tampa Bay this year, Tanaka has a 6.19 ERA, 1.59 ERA in his starts against the Rays, over 6 against everybody else. The Yankees aren't really in a position to put him on the DL right now, though, because of some of the other pitcher injuries that they have. So I don't know if they'll try to get him to pitch through this or what, but I would think if he's knocked around again in his next start, they may want to take a look at sitting him down for a little while here, maybe trying to get him right for that playoff push in the month of September. But look, in this series overall, James Paxton gives up 7 runs over 4 innings. CC Sabathia struggled again with 5 earned over 4 1/3, and Chad Green knocked around in that game as well. And then Domingo Germán, 3 earned over 5 1/3. Pretty big effort to slow down a Red Sox offense that, up to this point here in the month of July, has scored over 7 runs per game. Said that offense would get hot, has been the case here. So for Boston, as long as they get some pitching, the offense should be there. But again, you look at this series and the Yankees pitching staff, just not very good, and not very good this week. And, obviously this has kind of been a thing, I think, around Major League Baseball where pretty good pitching staffs are really dominating against the bad teams and then really struggling when they step up in class. So maybe this is something that merits watching for a team like the Cleveland Indians, who we'll talk about here in a little while. But Chris Sale with some command woes. Andrew Castro gave up 10 hits over 6 2/3, only gave up 3 runs. The Yankees only hit 4 homers in this series. Red Sox hit 11. So I'm not too worried about the Yankees offense by any means. But that pitching staff, once again, some pretty serious concerns there with them, especially a guy like James Paxton. Paxton's fastball getting hit very, very hard, something that Travis Sawchik mentioned on Twitter over the weekend. They got to figure that out because Paxton needs to be a frontline guy with Severino on the shelf, with Tanaka not pitching very well. They need that from him, and they're not getting it right now. And you sort of wonder what they can do to change the dynamic there. And for Paxton, it may be as simple as throwing the fastball less, but again, that takes him out of his comfort zone a little bit. We'll see if he's open to change and if the Yankees, do go in that direction. Yet another series win here for the San Francisco Giants. 2 more one-run victories for them in this series. The Padres only had 8 at-bats with a runner in scoring position in the series. And I talked about this a lot with the Padres in the first half. They just can't manufacture runs. It's got to be get a guy or 2 on, hit a long ball. They need to cut. The Padres, when you look up and down their roster, they've got some dudes that can really play and some dudes that are just terrible. They need more middle ground. They need to complement the guys that can really play with guys that are average or slightly below average major leaguers. The guys that really can't play are the ones that have hurt them dramatically here so far this season. So sitting on a potential NL West juggernaut as guys in the system graduate, as guys get more experience, as they scour the free agent market. But for right now, that was something that this series kind of showed me, is that the gap between the dudes that can play and those that can't is really big for the Padres. And that's one of the things that does hold them back a little bit at this point in time. But, once again, Giants, more one-run victories. Yeah, this is going to fall off at some point. I don't know when. Tried to bet against them in that series finale yesterday. Of course, they get that one-run victory. But this can't continue. They're not that good of a team. Personnel-wise, they're just not that strong. In the rotation, they're just not that strong. The bullpen's very good. There is that. The bullpen is very, very good for the Giants. But I don't know, man. Maybe there's some offensive guys that got to come back to earth a little bit. I don't see a long-term winner here with the Giants. And at some point, they're going to start losing some of these close games because you just can't run as good as they have over the last really month here, where they've just been dominant in every close game. That has to change here at some point. The Brewers and the Cubs. The Brewers taking 2 out of 3 from the Cubs here. And I give Milwaukee a lot of credit for their tenacity. Gio Gonzalez, very good 6 1/3, left with shoulder tightness. He seems to be okay. Chase Anderson with his usual 5 and fly. The bullpen figures it out. Freddie Peralta's been a savior for this bullpen here, pitching in a lot of different roles as a bulk guy, as a setup guy, as a closer. He's been a savior for them. They didn't hit John Lester in this series. They got to Craig Kimbrell for a blown save. You give them a lot of credit for that. But, man, I still see a lot of problems lurking here, even on the surface, for the Brewers. Again, 2 big starting pitcher injuries. Zach Davies runs into trouble again on Sunday, 7 runs in 5 innings. All of that attributed to Kyle Schwarber's 2 home runs. But still, he allowed base runners to put Schwarber into those situations. Back-to-back bad starts for Davies, as the regression monster has kind of found him. What do the Brewers do going forward? Are they able to get a pitcher now? I don't know. I guess we'll kind of wait and see, because Marcus Stroman goes to the Mets. Madison Bumgarner's not going anywhere now. I'd be very surprised if the Indians find the right package for Trevor Bauer. The Brewers would be a great fit for him as a very smart, analytical organization, but not a whole lot of starting pitching out there now. And that's the problem here, is that the market is thin and teams can ask a lot for the guys that they have. Of course, then again, the Blue Jays didn't get much of a return for Stroman and covered part of his salary. So it seemed like they were just trying to get rid of him, dumped him off to the Mets, which is pretty surprising there. But a really weird trade overall to kind of kick off the trade market a little bit. Also, the Rays get Eric Sogard, then turn around, trade Hunter Wood and Christian Arroyo to the Indians for minor league outfielder Cardinals. Look, a lot of stuff's going to happen over the next couple of days, and I don't know what will happen. Limited number of sellers, the buying costs are very high, and also a lot of teams hesitant to give up their young talent because nobody knows what's going to happen with the impending strike in 2021. Major League Baseball financials are kind of screwed up, and the Players Union, which has really not handled any of this well, they have not handled the statistical renaissance well at all. They do not have anybody in the MLBPA that understands sabermetrics to the right degree. Their players, aren't well aware enough of what's happening, of how they're being evaluated. There's a lot going on behind the scenes here that will likely lead to a strike in 2021. And teams don't want to trade their prospects away because they don't know if they're going to be able to dabble in free agency, what's going to happen with those markets, what's going to happen with service time and all those types of things. So it's really tough right now. Unless it's a player that's a rental or something like that, a lot of stuff getting held up right now in the trade market. I would still expect a flurry of deals on Wednesday. I may not have any plays at all on Wednesday, as things could get pretty chaotic. But, right now the trade deadline market is it's pretty soft because nobody's sure what's going to happen out there in a couple of years with Major League Baseball finances. So it's kind of holding up trades quite a bit. And again, I think we'll see a big flurry at the end as maybe teams start to get the prices that they want, or teams start to give up the players that they feel like, that they need to give up in order to get those reinforcements for the deadline. And again, also too, no waiver trade deadline. So none of those big contract guys can go in August. That means some teams that may be up against their self-imposed salary caps, may have to do something that's a little bit uncomfortable to add one of those bigger salaries into the mix. So it's going to be a crazy 3 days here, to say the least. Only one play tonight for me. I'd be surprised if I have a lot of plays tomorrow or Wednesday, just because we haven't seen the floodgates open yet. I think that they do, but again, a lot of teams very hesitant based on what could be happening here as we get closer to that likely labor stoppage. Something I want to touch on here, offensive performance versus pitch types for the last 2 months only. I don't think I've mentioned this a lot here of late. I'm looking at the last 2 months only because we've had some call-ups. The Super 2 deadline has passed. Also, we kind of have a great idea of what we're working with here with a lot of these teams. And also, you've got the guys that have been injured of late just coming back, maybe still hurt, something like that. So offensive performance in terms of batting average and WOBA versus certain pitch types. Last 2 months only. So May 28th to July 28th. Against fastballs, the Yankees batting .302, and that's four-seam, two-seam, cutter, and sinker. Yankees batting .302. The Royals at .297, Indians .297, Rockies .296, Red Sox .295, Pirates .294, Mets .293, Angels .291, Nationals .290, Padres .289. The bottom 10 here, the Rangers at .259, Marlins .261, Rays .262, Cardinals .265, Tigers .268, Cubs and White Sox .268, Phillies .270, Astros and Brewers both .273, league average .280. And as you see here, number 10, the Padres, number 30, the Rangers, only separated by 30 points. Get on fastballs, which are four-seam, two-seam, cutter, and sinker. Keep some of these teams in mind because we'll come back to them here in a second. In terms of WOBA, weighted on base average, Yankees number 1 at 385. How about the Angels? Number 2 at 379. Angels hitting for a lot of power on fastballs over the last couple of months here. Dodgers 376, Indians and Red Sox 375, the A's 373, same thing for the Mets, Braves 372, Nationals and Padres 371. Now the bottom 10 here, the Marlins at 310, Tigers 320, White Sox 327, Rays 332, Rangers 337, Cardinals 339, Orioles 342, Pirates and Giants 346, the Cubs at 350. So the Cubs struggling to do damage here against fastballs, which is very interesting to me given all the talent that they have in that lineup. The Astros also struggling a little bit with fastballs. They're bottom 10 in batting average, middle of the pack in weighted on base average. That's pretty surprising there. Angels hitting fastballs very well. Yankees, obviously the best team in baseball when it comes to hitting fastballs. The Rays having a lot of trouble hitting fastballs is very interesting, very surprising to me. The Mets doing much better on fastballs here over the last couple of months as well. So those are things that you want to look at there. You know, when you get these starting pitchers that are 60% or higher on fastballs, maybe some bad matchups for some of these teams that hit the fastball really, really well. Maybe have a little bit more success against those teams that don't hit the fastball as well. Let's look at off-speed pitches here. That's the split finger, changeup, forkball, and screwball. Only doing top and bottom 5 here for these. The Pirates, 311 batting average on off-speed pitches. Yankees, 286, Reds, 270, Red Sox, 269, Twins, 265. The bottom 5 here, the Orioles at 184, Cardinals, 197, Royals and Mariners, 200, Tigers, 207, league average, 237 on batting average on off-speed pitches. Again, split finger, changeup, forkball, screwball. Now, from a WOBA standpoint, Yankees 377, they lead there as well. Reds 361, Pirates 347, Cubs 324, Rays 323. The bottom 5 here, the Orioles 242, Tigers 244, Cardinals 249, Blue Jays 252, and Royals 255. Now, what's interesting about this is that the Yankees are hitting everything in sight. That's pretty interesting. But also, didn't mention the Reds at all whatsoever on fastballs. Here they are showing up as a good team against changeups and split fingers predominantly. Didn't mention the Twins much against fastballs. Isn't that interesting? The Twins, one of the highest slugging percentages in baseball here this season, but they're middle of the pack against fastballs. They're hitting splitters and changeups really, really well. Cardinals still bad against everything. The Royals, batting 200 on splitters and changeups. They're also bottom 5 in WOBA, but they're number 2 in batting average on fastballs. So again, the Royals will hit guys that throw fastballs and not hit guys that throw splitters and changeups. So that's a good betting angle for you to consider here, that the Royals will hit high fastball guys, won't hit guys that throw a lot of off-speed pitches or breaking balls here, as we'll find out in a minute. But again, this is really interesting stuff to me, and maybe stuff that I need to focus on a little bit more. You know, maybe instead of looking at sample size, instead of looking for regression, I have to look more at the matchup-based analysis here in Major League Baseball. Maybe that's why I've had so many issues so far this season, because it seems like teams and pitchers are streakier than ever before. You know, the larger sample size isn't playing out in the same way that it used to. Maybe it needs to be some more matchup-dependent analysis of looking at, you know, hey, this team hits breaking balls really well. Hey, this team hits fastballs really well. Maybe I need to focus a little bit more on those here throughout the month of August, instead of looking at the whole body of work with these pitchers and with these teams, looking strictly at more of a matchup-dependent analysis. Maybe that's one of the changes I need to make here for this season. Now, breaking balls. Sliders and curveballs here predominantly also includes knuckleballs and ephises, if guys have actually seen ephises here this season. Best team in baseball on predominantly sliders and curveballs is listed under breaking balls over at Baseball Savant. The Boston Red Sox at 304. The Astros are second at 254. Red Sox are 50 points clear of anybody else in batting average on sliders and curveballs, and they're also 31 points clear of the Minnesota Twins, who are second in WOBA, 364 to 333. So the Red Sox doing a phenomenal job on sliders and curveballs here. They're doing well on fastballs also. So that's why their offense has been just humming right along here of late. So again, Astros 254. Pirates a good breaking ball team. Sliders and curveballs 252. Yankees and Indians at 251. The Royals 189. The Royals will hit fastballs. They won't hit anything else. So if you've got a 60 or 65% fastball guy against the Royals, Kansas City has a pretty decent chance there in that matchup. The Padres 191. They don't hit breaking balls. We knew that already. They're pretty decent on fastballs. They're top 10 in batting average and WOBA. They don't hit breaking balls. You've got the A's, 251. They don't hit breaking balls, but they're very strong on fastballs. They hit fastballs very, very well. Top 6 in WOBA. They're also, a team that just at home, they hit fastballs very, very well. On the road, they hit fastballs very well. They don't hit the breaking stuff well. Reds, 254. Cardinals, 259. So you get some splits there where teams hit fastballs very well, don't hit the other stuff. Then they don't hit fastballs well and hit the other stuff. A team like the Pirates, very good at off-speed and breaking pitches, not so good on fastballs. Some interesting stuff to glean from that information there, to say the least. My pick for tonight, like I said, Royals over the Jays here. Jays with some issues. Stroman causing disruptions, lots of trade candidates. Thomas Pannone throws a lot of fastballs. The Royals have hit fastballs so far this year. Brad Keller going for the Royals tonight. You got to manufacture runs off of him, and that's been tough for the Jays to do most of the season. Keller, a sinker ball type of guy. The Blue Jays, they don't manufacture a lot of runs. They're a low batting average kind of team. Keller doesn't give up home runs. So I like the Royals tonight, the only play I have for tonight's card. All right, let's go down the lines here. Look at some line moves dating back to Friday. Mike Soroka taking money in a fade of Jake Arrieta on Friday. Soroka is a regression candidate, though. Per Connor Kirkon over on Twitter, Mike Soroka has allowed an 837 WOBA on barreled balls. That's 42% below the league average of a 1.423 WOBA. So Soroka, low BABIP with a high ground ball rate, and he's also running really good on barreled balls. Could be a guy that runs into some regression here as the second half goes along. Also a young guy working a lot of innings at the big league level. Seeing a heavy steam on Zach Wheeler. A fade of Dario Agrizal there for the Pirates. Not a big surprise. Agrizal is a guy that doesn't strike out a lot of guys. Low ERA, high FIP, high XFIP. Not a big surprise to see that one there. Did see some money come in against the Marlins and Sandy Alcantara. That was with Zach Greinke on the bump. Alcantara's a guy that's had a low ERA and a high FIP and XFIP most of the year. He's one of those contact management guys, so he's able to outperform his advanced metrics a little bit. Did so there in that start against Greinke and the Diamondbacks. Heavy Michael Pineda and Twins money throughout the weekend here, but on Friday it was Pineda against the White Sox and Dylan Cease. Also, we saw the Astros flipped into a favorite, Jose Urquidy, going up against Jack Flaherty in that one on Friday. Saturday, more Braves money. This time it was Max Fried against Zach Eflin. We saw some Trevor Williams and Pirates money come in a fade of Steven Matz and the Mets on Saturday. That was a pretty interesting one there, considering the Pirates just 2-14 since the All-Star break. John Lester took some money against Chase Anderson and the Brewers on Saturday. Lester very, very good, but the Cubs bullpen giving up the game there in that one. So a continued fade of Sean Anderson and the Giants. It's about the only guy the market is regularly fading for the Giants here is Sean Anderson. That was the case again on Saturday. Padres did win that one, only game in the series that they were able to pick up. Twins steam once again on Saturday against the White Sox. As I mentioned, that was an all-weekend thing. Saw heavy Mike Clevenger money hit the board for the Indians against Glenn Sparkman and the Royals. Sparkman, an ex-Woba guy, a big-time fade guy. Clevenger's been bet up significantly in most of his starts since coming back. That trend continued there on Saturday. Heavy Angels money against the O's all weekend as well. We also saw Garrett Cole money come in against Daniel Ponce de Leon and the Cardinals in that Saturday start. Padres got some heavy money on Sunday against Madison Bumgarner. That part of the handicap was good for us. The problem is that the Giants outscored the Padres in that game. Bumgarner did struggle, Would have been worse if Mike Yastrzemski didn't bring back a home run. But the Padres took heavy money there. Bumgarner, big splits against righties on the road. Watch for that here in the second half. The Padres had some success. I would expect other right-handed heavy teams to have some success in that split as well. Rays took money on Sunday against the Blue Jays. That was Yanni Chirinos and Aaron Sanchez in that one. More Twins money against the White Sox, as I mentioned already. Chris Sale took some money against the Yankees in a losing effort on Sunday Night Baseball. And Wade Miley took a little bit of money. Then we saw some buyback with Dakota Hudson and the Cardinals there. But Miley's pitched very, very well this year. Did have a little bit of a back and forth on Twitter yesterday. Wade Miley at home has a 95% left on base percentage. Maybe a fade candidate at Minute Maid Park. It's hard to go against the Astros, so maybe opposing team total over, something like that. Miley on the road this year, lower strikeout rate, lower ground ball rate, getting by, pitching very, very well, but there are some signs of regression there for the left-hander. Very small card here on Monday, not a whole lot to talk about. Patrick Corbin and the Nationals taking some money. Money coming in against Jordan Lyles again. Money coming in on Sonny Gray in that start. And also Angels taking money against the Tigers. Angels have taken a lot of money here for a while. And the Tigers, 2-14 since the All-Star break as well. Lots of reasons to fade Detroit out there in the marketplace. All right, so let's take a look at the week ahead here. We start with that Braves and Nationals series. Keuchel Corbin tonight. Tehran to be determined on Tuesday. Soroka and Sanchez on Wednesday. Again, Mike Soroka is a regression candidate, kind of like the Nationals in that spot there on Wednesday. Maybe look at the over, depending on what the total looks like there. But, the last time these two teams played, and it wasn't that long ago, Washington, big blowout win in Game 1, won Game 2. The Braves bounced back, picked up the split there in that series. Braves off of a good weekend against the Phillies. Nationals off of a small setback. But really what I'm looking at is that Wednesday game, looking to fade Mike Soroka there. Anibal Sanchez, a contact management guy, day game in D.C., so maybe the over will wind up being the play there. But I'll have some sort of position against Mike Soroka in that one. Astros and the Indians. Indians with a big step up in class. August gets much more difficult for them. They get Boston at home. They play the Astros. They're going to play some pretty good teams over the course of the month of August. They've gotten back in the race because of this berry patch schedule that they've been playing here of late. But now things step up. Real good one on Tuesday. Justin Verlander, Shane Bieber in that one. But then the tables turn here a little bit where the Astros have some big starting and pitching advantages in this series. Jose Urquidy and Adam Plutko on Wednesday. Garrett Cole, Zach Plesac on Thursday. I expect to see Astros money both Wednesday and Thursday, and it wouldn't shock me if we see it on Tuesday either. Although the Indians, good career numbers against Verlander. Sometimes those do drive things out there in the marketplace. I don't really pay attention to them. But I think Wednesday and Thursday, we will see Astros money in the market, especially Thursday. Zach Plesac, very thin margin for error, regression candidate, ERA and FIP discrepancy. The market's going to hammer Garrett Cole on Thursday. Cole with one of the best performances I've ever seen in last year's playoffs against the Indians. He was totally unhittable. I don't know if that'll be the case on Thursday, but I would expect him to get steamed pretty heavily in that game there on Thursday. It is Thursday night. For that one there between the Astros and the Indians. Interesting series here between the Twins and the Marlins. Jake Odorizzi, Zach Gallen on Tuesday, Jose Barrios, Sandy Alcantara Wednesday, Michael Pineda, Jordan Yamamoto on Thursday. How does this slugging percentage happy Twins lineup fare against these Marlins pitchers? The Marlins rotation has been excellent over the course of the season. No Nelson Cruz for the Twins in this series because of interleague play. He'll be able to pinch hit for the pitchers, obviously, but he won't play the outfield at all. They're not going to do that. The Marlins park factor suppresses slugging percentage. Gallen, Alcantara, Yamamoto, all right-handed, all guys that have some contact management skills in their repertoires. This is an interesting series. I don't hate taking a shot on a Marlins series price here. I really don't. I guess it's a tough spot for the Twins, going and playing an inferior team, but no DH. The pitchers have to hit. It's a little bit weird. You've got Odorizzi, who's already regressing, high hard hit rate of late. Barrios is a guy who's struggled on the road in the past. Pineda, always iffy with that command profile. I kind of like the Marlins in this series a little bit here. We'll see what that series price looks like when it comes out on Tuesday, but wouldn't shock me in the least if the Marlins take 2 out of 3 here with the Twins in a little bit of an uncomfortable situation, I think, with their lineup and how slugging percentage dependent they really are. Rays and the Red Sox here. To be determined for the Rays on Tuesday against David Price, Charlie Morton, Rick Porcello Wednesday. To be determined once again, and Andrew Kashner on Thursday. The Rays down Snell. They're down Glasnow. They need a big effort from Charlie Morton on Wednesday. Additional off days, though, will help this fatigued Rays pen, but the Red Sox seem like they've got it going in the right direction here. It will be an interesting series. I don't know how often or how many plays I'll have on it. I don't know what the Rays are going to do pitching-wise in this series either. Yarborough pitched on Friday. Chirinos pitched on Sunday. Probably Jalen Beeks, I guess, at some point here in this series. Maybe Yarborough on Thursday. I don't know. The Rays have some decisions to make here with their pitching staff, so I don't really have a whole lot to add on this series as of now. Finally, one more series to consider here, the Cubs and the Cardinals. Yu Darvish, Adam Wainwright Tuesday, Kyle Hendricks, Miles Mikolas on Wednesday, John Lester, Jack Flaherty on Thursday. These are two teams I just can't really peg this season. I felt like the Cubs have been an underachiever, but they're not really figuring it out. I think the Cardinals have overachieved a little bit here of late. I don't think there are a whole lot of betting angles to look at for this series. However, we've got one on Friday. The Cubs, with that Lester-Flaherty matchup on Thursday night, 6:15 start time in St. Louis, they host the Brewers on Friday in a day game at Wrigley Field, 1:20 first pitch there. So there's a situational angle to consider. The Cardinals are off Friday. They fly out to Oakland, play a couple of interleague games Saturday, Sunday. But the Cubs, in a difficult situational spot here, not long travel, obviously, by any means, but still, could be a late game on Thursday. Then you turn around and play very early at home on Friday. Unfortunately for the Brewers, that is Zach Davies. So we'll see what happens with that line in the marketplace, but a difficult situational spot for the Cubs there coming up on Friday. So a little bit short and sweet here today with the show. Just didn't have a whole lot to talk about. No Monday mailbag as well. So be back on Thursday with another edition of the Bettor's Box. Brian Leonard on Tuesday, Ross Tucker on Wednesday. We're going to chat some NFL with him. We haven't done a whole lot of NFL in the lead up to the preseason here yet. But we'll do some NFL on Wednesday with Ross. And then Thursday, Bettor's Box. Friday, Christian Pina on UFC. That'll do it for me. Thank you so much for listening, everybody. And remember that you will never strike out when you're in the Bettor's Box.